You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's barknwag.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Saving lives by selling collars, scrunchies, and swag. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That's barknwag.com to see the awesome merchandise. Bark and Wag collars and leashes, collar covers, and decorative bandanas are perfect for your pooch. For the owner of the house, we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts, hats, and even coasters. We are expanding monthly, so be sure to check back. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise too, so send an email to polly@barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to Cristi Eckert, owner of Natural Pet Wellness. Welcome, Cristi.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Yes, thank you for being on the podcast.
Excellent.
So it was probably about 2 years ago, Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk did a podcast on essential oils. And I actually just saw you speak at a event, and I wanted to have you on the podcast because there's so much that has changed in the last 2 years. So I think we just start with the first question is, what are essential oils?
Yeah, no, that's a very basic, good question, especially because they're everywhere now. They're in Costco, they're in Walmart. You can buy them online. There's different companies. So yeah, basically essential oils, it's a part of a plant. And that part of the plant helps carry nutrients to different parts of the plant. It fights bacteria, viruses, and fungus. And if a plant is damaged, it actually helps heal that plant. If you look in history, ancient Egyptians used essential oils for medicine and beauty, emotional support, embalming. And there's actually written in the hieroglyphics in these pyramids recipes using essential oils. I don't know how many times I can get that number, but in the Bible, essential oils are often mentioned. So it's a very ancient form of healing that's been available from plants. Oils are taken from the plant through steam distillation from shrubs, flowers, trees, roots, bushes, fruit, rinds of fruit, resins, and herbs. Polly, what's interesting is that oils are 50 to 1,000 times more potent than the dried herb. So if you think of lavender, you can buy little lavender flowers, but the lavender oil is like over 1,000 times more potent than that little flower that you can crush in your hand. So basically, essential oils are like a plant's internal first aid kit that we get to utilize.
Okay. And I know that you work with Young Living. What is Young Living?
Yeah, I really enjoy Young Living. I started using Young Living oils probably in 2006. So I've used them for quite a while now. Young Living is a company founded over 25 years ago, and they make 100% pure and therapeutic grade essential oils. And they have their own farms worldwide. So if a plant has a better climate in Costa Rica, they own their own farm and can pull the plant, what they need from that plant from the Costa Rica location. Or they have the lavender farm in Utah, right? The plants are non-GMO. They use heirloom seeds. They know exactly when to harvest these plants or the flowers or whatever they're taking to get the maximum benefit for this plant. So they'll go out in the field and they'll pull a piece of the plant off and they'll test it. And if it's not ready, they wait. And if it's ready at midnight, they're going to start that process right then to get the maximum benefit from the plant. I do like too that Young Living is the only company that has a seed to seal promise, which means you know that every bottle of oil is the same one that you got like before. There's no synthetics, there's no chemicals. They track that bottle of oil from the time it's in the ground as a seed to the very end when you get that bottle of oil in your hand. And they have tons of testing. They test each oil with 9 different methods, chemical testing. And I really like that their farming techniques are sustainable and pesticide free. You go to their farms.
Big deal.
It is. You go to their farms in Utah and you can walk through the lavender fields and you'll see weeds. They handpick the weeds. They also use oils to treat the weeds to make sure they don't come back. So it just gives you a lot of confidence with this company knowing they're doing the right things with their product.
And so are the lavender fields, are they open to the public? I would love to do that.
They are. They are. They have a lavender harvest. They let you plant some lavender, and you could even buy lavender, your own little lavender plants to take home from their farm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a magical place. It's like in the mountains near Utah. It's so pretty there.
Oh wow. Okay, well I'll have to look at that. Maybe you could send me the information. I can put it in the show notes.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great. So now let's just full circle with the title of your business, Natural Pet Wellness, and how do essential oils help pets?
Yeah, there's a short answer for that. Of course, I'll give you the long one, but the short answer is oils support emotional and physical wellness for people and pets. So the long answer now, emotional support. If you think about your pet or other people's pets, most pets a lot of them are rescue animals. They have a past and a history. It could involve trauma or loss, and they maybe haven't healed or recovered from that. So maybe that's shown in behavior problems or sickness. So oils really help with the emotional side of it. And if you also think about your own emotional well-being, your pet you have such a bond with your pet. Think about your dog or your cat. There's a really strong animal-human connection. And animals, they're your life partner for their life, right? They share your space, your house. You probably travel with them. They share your adventures. And animals, especially dogs, communicate from their heart with their energy level. People do that too, but people have so much clutter going on in their head, right? You got your phone and your TV and work, and your head is so full of things all the time. And dogs and animals in general, they don't have that clutter. It's like they're always meditating, right? They're in that moment. And that's why they're so healing and calming for us to be around. But sometimes our emotional clutter reflects into them. They absorb that or take that on. So often your pet is a reflection of where you are in your emotional life. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine dogs are going to be they're going to be pretty stressed.
I like to give the example of, my husband at one time, he was in a job that he wasn't too excited about, and he liked the job, but there were some stresses in the job, and he would have an upset stomach every morning before he went to work. And our dog would throw up every morning, and and it's his dog, right? Like we each have our own dog that love all our dogs, but Freddie, this is his dog, and he's so tied to my husband that he was mirroring that tension and stress that my husband was carrying. And as soon as my husband got a different job and his stomach pains went away, Freddie, our dog, has not thrown up since. He's been completely fine. So
maybe that's why Maddie never comes to me.
No. So you need to look at what
I need a better life.
But you just sometimes have to look at if your dog is having, weird issues behaviorally or emotionally, you need to look maybe at yourself and be like, am I reflecting? Is there something in our household or somebody in our household or myself that is causing this dog some issues? And that's where oils can come in, because we talk about energy briefly with, that's how animals and people can communicate on a different level there, energetically through your heart, right? So oils also have an energy. They have a frequency level, and that's actually scientifically measurable. And by having this oil, it's going to raise your energy level and your frequency. It's almost like taking a good vitamin, right? Like it's going to help you feel better and heal some of those emotional blocks and wounds that you may have. So that's kind of the emotional, spiritual level. And then, of course, physically. My old boy is 14, and he has some hip and back problems. There's an oil for inflammation and pain, and he loves it. And it really helps him to where I was giving him prednisone by recommendation from the vet. And I'm not saying that there isn't a place for medication, but it would make him really spacey, like real foggy. And he would just like not kind of know where he was, or he was slow to respond. He just seemed out of it. And it was the prednisone making him kind of wacky. And so now I can use these oils, and I feel like I get a similar result from him not having the pain, yet he's alert and comfortable. So
interesting. And so, we have a pug who was on prednisone, and it caused a lot of problems. Because he was probably on it too long. But so that's great that there's a whole bunch of different essential oils for different ailments. Where can people get a hold of you if they have any questions?
Yeah, the best place at this time is my email, and that is naturalpetwellnessinfo@gmail.com. Or they're welcome to give me a phone call as well at 970-406-0704.
Great. Well, I'd love to have you on the podcast and talk more about pets and essential oils.
Okay, I look forward to it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Okay, great. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.